I'm Preston Sawyers Jr. I lived a life without purpose for a long time. At the lowest point, I learned foundational methods to building an ordered life and a worldview. Many of our beliefs are formed from what we are around. What happens when we question those things? True and false, good and evil, they're all around us. How we discern what we see and hear informs how we respond with wise judgment. These are what you might call lessons that I learned in hell. One of the most important was gratitude. When I was at the beginning of my recovery, I didn't have any working limbs, couldn't use a cell phone because I couldn't use either of my arms to entertain me or keep me occupied. The pain was really intense, and I was just trying to find a way to get by day to day. When I would have company come over, I'd be groaning and have spasms. But everything hurt, so the only thing I could really, muscles I could constrict were in my neck and in my head, move my head. And so my girlfriend let me know one time, hey, you need to attempt to try to chill that out when people are here. It makes people uncomfortable. And that was like her actually trying to help. Just because I wasn't able to read. Experiencing what I wasn't able to really read or comprehend how I was being received, and really it didn't matter at the time because of what I was trying to get through. And when I would complain, that girlfriend, it became more of an annoyance to her. So then her response was, people have survived worse. So after a few times of hearing that, I just started thinking that it could be worse. And then, the first thing I really had to be thankful for was that it wasn't worse. Now, first, it was really hard to be thankful that it wasn't worse, but it was kind of hard to believe that thankfulness that I wasn't worse, because I couldn't imagine it being worse. When I was too bad to be grateful, when it was too bad for it not, it turned into I'm thankful to be alive. At first, I didn't believe it when I told myself I was thankful to be alive. The next day, I didn't believe that same thing that I said, I'm thankful to be alive. But I knew I had to find something good, even if it was just being thankful to be alive. After a few days, it did turn into actual gratitude for being alive. And that, when I found myself able to be thankful to be alive, because I was contending with that thought. When I would say that I'm thankful to be alive, and I knew I wasn't, in my own head, I'd be having this conversation and going, well, I'm thankful to be alive. No, you're not. But then that sparked the response, well, I should be thankful to be alive. That important part was going the step further of I should be thankful to be alive. If I just stopped at, no, you're not thankful to be alive, and left it at that, I'd just be giving up on that need for being thankful for something. But if I was, I had to be honest with myself when I would recognize that, no, you're not thankful to be alive. Okay, well, why am I not thankful to be alive? Because it's really freaking bad right now. Should I be thankful to be alive? Yes, but I'm not. All right. So why not? That turned into, how can I be thankful to be alive? I do see that if I would have stopped at, no, you're not thankful to be alive, acknowledging that I was lying to myself, if I stopped there, then there'd be, scratch that. Well, this is something. If I would have just stopped at, I'm not thankful to be alive, then there's no conclusion to that thought. And it's just giving up on that thought. I'm thankful to be alive. If I stopped at the first response of, no, you're not thankful to be alive, you don't believe that, then I'd be giving up on that. But I knew that I had to hang on and find a way to be thankful. Now, eventually, I had more to be thankful for. Was actually after truly being thankful to be alive. And eventually I found, it was a small thing, but, I'm thankful I could at least use my right hand now. So then I could use a cell phone to distract myself, start and stop a podcast or something like that. And then it was, I'm thankful I can use my right elbow now, so that I could reach for things that were sitting on the table next to my bed. It's a really slow process of what my body could do, but even the smallest, it was a good thing. I found that the day-to-day thankfulness and growth of gratitude was really hard to recognize, but by being aware of what I was thinking in that first thought of, I should be thankful to be alive, then the next week, days after that, like I said, it didn't really mean a lot, but it started to mean something. Well, a week later, a week and a half later, I could think back to the week prior and go, this is better. Not much, but it is better. But day to day, I would see, nothing's changing, and today's a really bad day. But if there was a moment of where the worst would just get a little bit lighter for even a moment, then I was able to see that, last week was a lot worse. So it wasn't even like day by day, it was week by week. And so I started to see that, and I had hope that, today's just a bad day, but next week might be better. I found that in rock climbing too, that same practice where I was able to see that was that, there was a lot of days climbing 6 days a week. I might have one best day out of 20 days. And I might have 10 days that were good or average. But I'd have maybe another 8 that were just bad days, where it was like I was brand new to it and took 3 steps back. But sticking with it and knowing that eventually I'm going to have the best day climbing yet. Gratitude is still hard today. It's not like just because I started that practice there it's all sunshine and rainbows. No, ingratitude still creeps up, and I gotta recognize that, stamp it out. And if I don't, the bad attitude that is starting to grow is gonna get a lot worse. So I gotta make myself stop and thank God for the day, make sure I thank God for the people I'm around, and thank God for the chance to grow in this gratitude. I find the necessity of gratitude for even what seems like should be a step back or a hit, or the hard things in life to be thankful for, or things you even shouldn't be thankful for, I guess logically in the world sense, but like a failed business or failed attempt, professional attempt of any kind, or financial hit. Things get tight, money's tight, and I don't have a whole lot of food to eat. Well, there's a lot. Be thankful that I don't have to worry about a whole lot. I know I'm going to survive. So if I know I'm going to survive, then why am I complaining? Why do I have this sense of ingratitude? I've noticed when I'm living if I become ungrateful, things are tied with that, like self-pity. I see entitlement being tied to that ingratitude. What I noticed early on was the most that I was gonna get if I was ungrateful, or how I would equate this is to see myself as a victim to that circumstance that I'm in, whatever it is. The physical challenges, the pain, health difficulties, from the example earlier. If I choose to be a victim to that, the most that I'm gonna get is somebody taking pity on me, give me temporary relief for the moment. Let me help you with this. But then as soon as that temporary slight relief wears off, I'm right back into the same hole I was in before. So that original statement that seems cold to probably most from the girlfriend of stop complaining and people survived worse. That was actually the best thing that I needed to then be forced to contend with finding gratitude. Even if even if it did come from her being annoyed and tired of hearing my groans and pains. And part of that victim mindset is, if we're looking for reasons to be victims or ways that we are victims, and with the world that we live in, you're gonna get a real long list real quick. And then the longer you focus on those things, and the longer the list you get for I'm a victim to this diagnosis, I'm a victim to this situation, I'm a victim to this thing that happened, or whatever, the harder it is, you gotta climb out of that hole. So what I found was it's by not giving myself excuses for being grateful. It prevents the falling into that trap of being a victim. By refusing to be a victim, that means, if I'm talking biblically, then that means I'm a victor. Victim or victor. And if you are actively the victor, what comes with that is hope. Even if it's not right in front of you, it's the hope that, it will be better. Because it's the focus of what can be better. The victim is it's bad now and it's always going to be bad. That's not true. For as long as you buy it. that rejection of being a victim. It's that hope comes from finding a way for it to be better. Knowing that there's something that I can do for it to be better. No matter if I know what it is or not. That's inconsequential to the moment of when I'm sitting in the moment contending with, okay, now what can I do to make it better? Not better now, not better today, but how can it be better next week? This is overall a contradiction to my worldview, and this is something I am contending with because of how much I dislike contradictions. But it's the only circumstance that I've found where it's beneficial to be delusional. And like I said, I'm contending with it, so if I come up with more, I'll be sharing it, and then I'll be working through it too, because I don't believe holding contradicting ideas at the same time is helpful. It's ultimately chaotic. But to most people that have got to know my process of this life, they probably do see it as delusional. Doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. Like, hey, now, how's it supposed to get better? How is anything supposed to happen? It's like, well, because it can happen. I'm not saying I know it is or how it is, but it can. I was working early in the recovery to be thankful. Found temperance to be a necessity. Temperance is a balance, moderation, and self-control in anger and emotion. In the early days, it was difficult when I would be trying a new thing, and even the most simple of new things. When I would break from that temperance, and I'd have an outburst of anger, I knew that my goal was to be temperate, so I had just having that goal of being temperate would bring me back to my baseline a lot quicker. And that anger would come from a failed attempt at something that could have been dangerous, like getting hurt further with all of my injuries stacked up. Like one was of the first breaking that I had was when I was trying to get myself from my wheelchair into the front passenger seat of a car. And I thought I'd be able to get it. So I tried, failed. I had to get help in the middle of the failure. I was about to fall on the ground. And then I was pissed that, one, I failed, but two, that it went that bad. And I knew that I had to try again. It wasn't just that one failure wasn't going to be the end, that I had to attempt again. All right, next time I'm going to try the same thing, try something different, recognize what went wrong or what could have gone wrong in that process, but I'm going to get it one of these times. It might seem like a stretch to some, but later in my recovery, that thankfulness turned into a form of fasting. And it was because I was reading scripture and found that Christ's response to how we are to fast was what hit really close to home. That fasting isn't for everybody to see. It's not for everybody to know. It's not for self-exaltation. It's not to get recognition. It's just between you and God. And I probably did some mental gymnastics, and I probably am now, but I found that it's real, so it's not really mental gymnastics anymore. That when I was in PT and I was doing 3 days a week, every time I did PT, I was not able to walk for at least one day. The physical recovery from PT for that 90 days was real rough. And so I figured if I'm going to be experiencing all this pain from PT, and the only way I'm going to be able to do anything or improve what I'm capable of physically, I have to endure this. So how can I find a way to make it good out of this? So finding ways to be thankful for the pain. When I was in that PT time through those days, I'd have PT, and then I'd be interacting with the people I was living with, or socially at church, or wherever that was. My goal was that touching that temperance again was to just be temperate no matter what, even with no matter how much pain I was feeling. Well, that works, and it did work. I found a lot of self-control, and every time it got difficult, I was able to, thank God. Hey, I appreciate the opportunity to learn this self-control through all of this pain and in this setting. Funny thing is, the people I was around and would interact with on a regular basis, they probably wouldn't say that I dealt with that pain very well. And anytime I did respond in anything less than self-controlled or temperate, they'd probably disagree with what I'd shared with you. But I know, and I've had plenty of conversations with folks where, just had a friend I talked with the other day that she's dealing with a bad sickness. And when she's just trying to survive through the day, same thing is, I'm going to control this as much as I can, but every now and then, when I do I do share some anger or frustration with somebody I'm around, it's because you just saw the tip of the iceberg. I've been fighting this for a lot longer, and now I just got a little fed up. I'm sorry I got fed up, but these are my efforts. And if I gave in to every single one, you probably want to be around me. But I found that the people that would or could recognize that I was trying the best I could to control my response to the pain and the social settings and people prying and poking at certain things. People that understand that, we could be friends and we could get along without any issue. But a lot of people didn't have the ability to recognize that, and so they get poking and prying and poking and prying. It's like, look, I'm trying to warn you. Leave me alone. Stop poking. Stop poking me. Please stop poking me. All right, now, excuse my language, but I'm not going to say that. Now I got to be a jerk. Yeah, I got to draw a hard line because I've been trying to warn you, like, stop poking. Trying. And if you don't want to listen, then I have to. Attempting to communicate those things of the warning is my form of kindness, although some might say I'm not kind enough, but being too there is such thing as too kind, and too kind at the wrong things is going to create more bad. So by drawing a line, it's with a friend or family member of, nah, this is where it's at. Am I a jerk for drawing that line? I don't think so. Is this the stuff I'm be putting up with? Do I have to put up with all of your stuff? No. And if I can't, I'm just letting you know that I can't. Some people, I see this as part of the masculine form of communication too, is that, when I speak and you choose not to listen to what I said, or you ask something and you refuse my first answer, but you're going to ask another 3 times within a few minute span, the answer's not changing. The answer could change in an hour, but I told you a moment ago what it is right now. What's the point of asking again? Frustration will come out then too. Bring it back to thankful and gratitude. When I began reading scripture, getting to know more and better on what God calls us to, especially as a man, that's really the only thing I could speak to. And what I was focusing on was how to be a better man. Was that the responsibility scratch that. Realizing that God grants man to be able to affect the world around them. My question is if you're affecting the world around you in a positive or negative way. Realizing that God granted me the ability to affect the world around me, I realized everything that God grants us, there's a responsibility that comes with that. There's a responsibility with life. There's a responsibility with salvation. There's a responsibility with the blessings in our life, the responsibility to family, to devotion of any kind. But with that responsibility, if I saw that as a curse, like, oh, now I have to do this, now I have to do that, that's just a practice of ingratitude. But I saw that, because of that, these new practices of gratitude, I saw that as, thank God that I get to do that. More responsibilities requires more accountability on my part to be able to recognize I have a responsibility to affect. And if I don't, if I'm passive to affecting for the better, that's on me. That's on my soul. And there's consequence in this world and in the next. I found that with the same thing, accountability to opportunity as well, whether I chose that opportunity or not. If opportunity sets itself in front of me, I have responsibility to that opportunity, do best I can with that. Responsibility is not directly tied to outcome, but you have a responsibility to learn from whatever the outcome is. So you fail the first time with opportunity of any nature that arises, then, well, there's another opportunity that's going to come up again. And you learned from the last one. If you reflected on it, took responsibility for your part in it, or did you give yourself an excuse to say, nah, that's a good thing I don't have to deal with that. That's not on me. I don't have any part of that. I think the most impactful part of the process ever since my accident now, was it coming up on 5 years this year, was finding gratitude for even the bad things. And that's easy to say, but it's a hell of a lot harder to do when you're in the middle of it, when that weight is heavy and it's hard. That shit hurts, emotionally, mentally, or physically. But the rejection of being a victim, rejecting ingratitude, rejecting excuses, and coming to a point of, all right, now I've rejected all those things. Now what can I do? What can I be thankful for? What can I have hope for something being better? Thank you for listening. If you heard something in the podcast that sparked a thought or question, bring that thought or question to me at sawyerspurspodcast@gmail.com. You can find me everywhere podcasts are found. Help me with a follow, share, and a like.
This podcast is proudly a part of Big Sack Productions, where your podcast dreams come to life.
You've been listening to Euphony Innovatives Sonified.